Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. We're here with you on another Monday morning with a great episode ahead. But before we get into all that, Chris, why don't you hit us with today's weather?
In Los Angeles, California, it's sunny and 72. Houston, Texas, rainy and 72. Chicago, Illinois, partly cloudy 35. New York City, rain and it's 53.
All right.
So Houston's raining, California's not. New York City's raining, Chicago's not.
Huh.
There's your meteorologist thinking moment for the day.
Your meteorology mastery.
Thank you. What can I say?
The
Weather Channel will be giving me a call.
You're a weatherman god.
Weather Channel. Follow me on Twitter and DM me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what my salary will be, and don't make it anything that's laughable.
Work out the contract later.
Yep. I can start working as soon as next week.
You can't.
Any further questions?
You can't leave us though.
Why wouldn't? Any further questions? Talk to my secretary, Nick.
Of course. He pays me well. I swear. Guys, please save me.
Nick, where's my coffee?
It'll be here in
Pepsi.
45 minutes.
You are fired.
Thank you. I've been waiting for that.
Too bad. You think you're getting away that easily. How precious. I'm just kidding, everyone. I'm not that bad of a secretary.
Wait, how did you become the secretary?
I'm just kidding. I'm not that bad of a boss to Nick.
Nope, I'm just that bad of a secretary. But Chris,
hold on, Nick.
What, Chris?
I just want to say this because it just popped into my head.
Oh boy.
As much as we're joking about that, sometimes doesn't it feel like you are my glorified secretary? I mean, if we're being honest.
In what sense?
I mean, you do all the work I don't want to do.
Believe that's called splitting the workload.
Right. It's not me picking and choosing.
No, never.
And then getting grumpy when you don't do it.
Hey, I've been good this week.
I'm very proud of you. You get an extra dog treat.
Speaking of that, you got your new puppy.
I did, and she wanted me to let you know she will not be sharing her treats with you.
Oh, that's sad. Does that mean I get the cheap ones?
Yup.
Oh.
She says you don't get the healthy training treats. You get the dollar store ones that has God knows what in it.
That's fine. Those taste the best.
She says, never mind. You can get cauliflower from here on out with tomato.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she already knows what you don't like. She's been talking to Fuzzy in between Fuzzy being scared for her life.
So are you happy to have the dog home?
Yes, I'm being a much happier person now.
Yeah, I didn't see you all day though.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys. You know, Chris got his new dog. I got my first actual haircut in years because up until now I've just been buzzing it at home. So that was kind of an interesting experience to actually.
Can I ask you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, of course.
And I mean this sarcastically, and also at the same time I don't. Did you get a haircut because I told you to get a haircut? Because I do believe last time we recorded, I said, you need a haircut.
I don't know. I don't think you did say that, but no. And even if you did, no,
I think I
wasn't
did.
the reason.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I
Someone go
actually
back and
did.
listen, please.
It wasn't then. It was right when we got on Zoom.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I
No,
did say something to
you
you.
asked me if I got a haircut.
And then you said no. And then I think I said, well, you need one anyways.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Maybe. But no, that is not the reason why I got one.
Okay, fine. Be that way.
No, got the haircut, got new sneakers. And then I know I'm super late to the bandwagon, but I finally watched or started watching Stranger Things on
It's
Netflix.
okay, Nick.
Got through the
I will
first
never
season.
be. It's okay, Nick. I will never be on that bandwagon.
All right, alone then. Great show though. It made me cry.
Well, that's when you know it's a good show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I prefer laughing when I watch TV. You know, I've learned that if I cry or it causes me to scream at the TV, it ain't for me. So,
I'll see. I buy right into the emotional weight of it.
of course you do.
It's just how I am.
But you know, Nick, we have a new segment for Monday mornings.
We
It's
do.
in we'll call it in beta testing right now.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to work out the fine details of it. We still don't have a segment name for it.
We'll
But you
figure it
know,
out though.
I told Nick to figure that one out. So essentially what it is, each week we'll pick like a little topic, conversational topic, talk about it for, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes. We'll see, probably 5-ish minutes. That's going on with that week or something, you know, something that's going on with that time. So it's not going to be something totally random. And then we'll just kind of discuss, throw ideas out there, and just talk about it.
Just a little segment so you guys get to hear us, discuss a little more. It's not just going through the news 100% of the time. Besides the last two segments, it's a little something at the beginning of the show. Besides our intros, that just allows you to get a little insight on what we think on certain things.
So, since, I got to pick the wonderful topic for this Monday morning. Coincidence? I think not. So this Monday, we are going to talk about pandemic habits that we think that were created due to the pandemic or habits that are going to stick that have been brought up more like as a main focus that might have been around before pandemic, but now everyone relies on.
Mm-hmm.
So here's mine. I have a few, but I think this is the big one. Grocery shopping pickup.
Oh yeah. I mean,
everyone does it.
You have it in a bunch of like the major chains at this point. And it's great. I mean, it's honestly the convenience of it. People are never going to leave it behind. Ever.
Who's going to, let's say the day comes that pandemic is behind us and life is quote unquote back to normal. Who is going to be excited to go back into the grocery store and be like, yay, I get to go into the grocery store with other people and shop. Yay.
Well, and think about it. Say you're like in a rush for something, or it's really kind of like it's kind of late and you just want to get home and you're at work. You can just literally, get your order submitted and then pick it up on your way home. And there you go. It's done.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful because at our grocery store, you just pull into these parking spots. You open the hatchback. We do. They put the groceries in the car. They say, "Sign here." You sign. They're gone. You've already paid for it. You're done.
Exactly.
Less than 5 minutes.
The modern times have become an age of convenience. I'd have to say, like,
we're in the convenience era.
Yeah. All the technology that's coming out, the apps and the devices and stuff, they're geared towards convenience for the people. And this is just another Exactly. And that's another big one too, adding on to your grocery store. The pickup thing is getting food delivered. Now, obviously it existed before the pandemic and all that, but I feel like it's surged even more since.
I mean, you can now get McDonald's and Burger King delivered to your front door.
Mm, yeah.
That was only available in major cities.
Right, exactly. The fact that it's become as big as it has, there's no way anyone's going to go back. Again, it's just this huge convenience factor where um no one's going to want to give it up.
Another one, before we switch to another one, I have to say, food being delivered to your door, be careful with that because you gain some pounds and your bank account gets emptied.
See,
And then it's a hard habit to break.
my biggest concern with ordering food online, because you see getting it delivered, sorry, you see the stories all the time of people, the drivers taking food from your order.
So, moving on to another one, DoorDash, grocery store pickup. I think this one might be a tad 50-50.
Hmm.
It's I think for some people it's gonna stick. Some people it's like never gonna ever never want to do it again.
Right.
And that is working from home.
Yeah, I had that one on my mind too. I was wondering if you were gonna say that.
Working from home is the joy to my life, if
you
we're
know,
being completely honest.
there are definitely gonna be those that stick with it for as long as possible. And I think another thing that's going to come from this is more job opportunities,
Hmm.
for people to work from home. It's not just going to be a thing where these people have to fight to stay at home. I think there are going to be more job opportunities where these companies actually realize, hey, we actually can allow these people to work from home. And so I think we're going to see a number of those types of jobs just be continued and more will be added as well, because it just works for some people, and it
Certainly
allows,
works for me.
yeah, I mean, it allows companies to get employees that they need on their books, even if that employee can't exactly come into the building or whatever. They still have someone to fill that position now.
I think also a lot of companies are going to be taking a hard look at, do we want our employees just working from home now? How much money can we be saving from this?
Right.
That's going to be a big talk, and I already know that's a big talk in one big national company. My neighbor, he works for one, and they're having a conversation right now. They have two branches locally, and they're saying, well, should we just, instead of buying another warehouse like we planned on doing, should we just close down one of the offices, let people that want to work from home,
Mm.
people that want to go back into the office, go back to the smaller office building, and turning the bigger office building into a warehouse.
Yeah.
That's going to, if that's what they do, that would save them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how company dynamic and how, like, uh, the workforce dynamic kind of changes because of all this. And obviously, you're going to have those that want to go back to work, which it is very understandable at the same time. But there are definitely going to be those that want to stick with working from home.
Are you going to be one of those that want to work from home?
I wouldn't mind working in an actual building, but I
Hmm.
mean, working from home wouldn't be a nightmare either. I'm flexible in that sense.
So I've experienced experienced both, working from home, working in an office. I'm fine with both, but in September, when I start job hunting for a full-time job, I'm going to be pushing hard on the remote jobs.
Mm,
But if there's an office job that pops up, I'm not going to refuse it just because it's an office job. But
right.
also, I'm going to be pushing work from home jobs.
Yeah. And again, I can't blame anyone for doing that. Can't blame for you for doing that. Can't blame anyone for doing that. It. I'm gonna say this word 100 times in this segment alone, I swear, but it's convenience. It really is, and not even that. It reaches a whole new level because for some people, some people don't like or have a hard time interacting with other people and interacting with, in a social manner, I guess I'd call it. And so working from home really benefits those people.
So I think working from home, it has its pros and cons. Working from home, some people say that they have to work longer hours throughout for the day. Others say they're not. Some say they love it. Some say they feel cramped in their house. I think one of the major negatives of working from home is a lot of people are going to be looking for bigger houses
Mm,
because if you work from home, you need like space. You really do.
right. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be cramped up.
Like I live in close to a 2,000 square foot house, and some days I feel cramped up in the house.
Mm,
So people that are living in apartments that are 800 square feet, working from home full time, that's eventually going to become like I'm gonna
overwhelming.
I'm gonna jump through the walls.
Yeah, overwhelming and claustrophobic almost.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be interesting if this happens and people do start leaning towards like bigger houses and stuff. It's gonna be very interesting to see where the real estate market leans and how all that will start to tilt because of it. It
Because
honestly it could
obviously bigger
affect a lot.
houses, obviously bigger houses cost a lot more money.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people won't be able to afford those bigger houses. So it's something along somewhere is going to have to give. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
exactly.
just logical sense there. Some things you're going to have to give, whether people end up saying, okay, I can't work from home, I need to go back into the office, or the real estate market, people are looking for bigger homes. They're set at the prices they're at now. No one's buying them because no one can afford them, or those house prices are just going to plummet.
Right.
Which one is it?
I mean, yeah, you're completely right on that. Something is going to have to give at some point, and I'm almost curious to just watch the tension build on that whole situation and see how many different pieces of the puzzle shift across multiple different scales. Like we've been talking about, the convenience for companies, the convenience for people, the way the real estate market shifts, and I feel like it'll shift a few other things too. Um, so it'll be very interesting to see where those pieces fall, how the tension builds on that, and what exactly gives. But we've seen because of the pandemic, people, as you know, as hard as it might be, we've learned to adapt to difficult situations, for lack of a better term. So if people are forced to give first before, say the market uh, gives, then they'll have to adapt back to going back to work, but I think they'll survive that.
Hmm. I mean, it was pre-pandemic. You did it once, you can do it again. It might be hard going back. I want to say this before we move into our next final one, before we get into the news, start wrapping this up, is the real estate market, like we said last Friday, everything is 10% higher in real estate prices. But honestly, I think in some areas that's a much higher. Like the ratio is much higher because
Mhm.
I watch the real estate market very closely.
Yeah.
And there's a 1,200 square foot house That's a modern house. It's not outdated or anything. It's a modern house, but it was built in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
1,200 square feet, one car garage, selling for $309,000. It's been on the market for 2 days and it already has 5 offers on it.
Oh wow.
Now, if you were to look back a year ago or so, that house would struggle to sell at $225,000.
Mm,
So you're looking at 70, almost $90,000 difference,
right. I,
85,000, somewhere around there.
it's very crazy to see where the numbers are falling right now. You know, obviously economically, you can look at it. Economically, the country's struggling horribly because of everything that's happening. Yet house prices are higher, and yet, it's like you said, that house has 5 offers in
For
what,
three
2
hundred and
days?
nine thousand dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days.
It definitely makes everything look so strange.
And when you have 5 offers on that house, people are going to start bidding against each other,
And then it's just gonna get higher.
and then that's going to push the market value in that neighborhood higher.
Yep.
So, area that usually sells for 225 to 275 at the highest. Now looking at a house that just sold for over $300,000.
Exactly.
That's going to increase everyone's home value.
Which pretty much just makes the entire market more of a seller's market at that point.
And I
Again,
mean,
it'll be interesting to
houses
see where the
are
give is.
few and far between right now for selling, anyways. But I have one final one. Do you have any?
Uh I don't think so. We were thinking about a lot of the same ones, but what do you have as your last one?
Okay, so this one's kind of two different ones, but you can kind of merge it into one because it's kind of like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, homebodies. I feel like, there was always the homebodies, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more homebodies now that would rather be home watching, binge watching TV. So I think binge watching and homebodies is also going to be more popular.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say for me if I believe that or not. Because at this point, the general consensus seems to be that people are sick of being home and sick of
Really?
being shut down. That's the general consensus that I've seen as I go through each day.
I
So
also see the flip side of that of people like, I have to leave my house.
I I feel like that type of attitude will drop away again though.
Like, I feel like once things are quote unquote back to normal, people are going to be like, woohoo, running out of their house. But then there'll be those people that are like, oh God, I'm going back to the way it was.
I mean, obviously there are going to be those that stick with that pattern and stick with that style. But if
You're
we're
probably
talking
talking to one.
but if we're talking about things that are going to stick in a majority sense, I feel like that's one of the ones where we're gonna see more of a minority stick to it instead of I think less people are going to stay in.
Alrighty. Well, that was my final one. Let's get into the news. Why don't we?
All right, yeah, probably a good idea. So we start off our Monday morning news segment here with a COVID update for you. We start off with the fact that 500,000 people have now lost their lives to COVID 19. 300,000 of these were in the first 10 months, and then the other 200,000 have come from mid December until February 22nd when we hit the 500,000 count. The House had a moment of silence for the 500,000 people who have lost their lives. And we have a bit of that audio here for you, so we'll play that right now.
The chair asks all members in the chamber, as well as members and staff throughout the Capitol, to rise for a moment of silence in remembrance of more than 500,000 Americans who've passed away from the COVID-19 virus.
After the House had their moment of silence later that evening, the First Lady and President Biden, along with the second family, had a ceremony outside of the White House having a moment of silence. LA funeral homes are massively overrun right now. People are struggling to find places for their loved ones to get buried, cremated, things like that. 50,000 people have died now in California, the only state to hit the 50,000 mark. And at this point, 1 in every 10 Americans have received one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. So there's a little bit of good news. So that equals to 44.1 million people, and 19.1 million have been fully vaccinated.
So on the topic of vaccine as well, Moderna has begun looking at options for variant-specific vaccinations and vaccines. These will be boosters from the normal COVID-19 vaccine. The trials for these will be starting in March, and the trial for this will be focused on the South African variant of the virus. The FDA has given Pfizer permission to store their vaccines in normal freezers. This will obviously allow for easier distribution and storage. Speaking on the South African variant, it has made its way to 14 different states at this point, and they're keeping an eye on that. And the shipments that were delayed, the vaccinations, because of the winter storms from last week, all those shipments have been caught up.
Looking specifically at New York City and California, there is a 13% increase in positivity rate in New York City and California. In New York City specifically, there is a homegrown variant. Scientists are closely monitoring the situation, and at this time, they don't know if that variant that's homegrown is more contagious than the other variants that are out there.
All right. So, talking more about vaccine stuff here, Johnson & Johnson has received their approval for emergency authorization for their vaccine. This vaccine is a single dose vaccine and is the first of its kind that's been approved at this time. In the 62-page document, it shows data from the clinical trials of the vaccine and shows that it's safe and effective. Well, how effective is it? Here's some of the data for you. It's 100% effective when it comes to preventing hospitalizations and deaths. 85% effective in terms of protecting against severe illness, and 66% effective against moderate cases.
Now, keep in mind that Johnson & Johnson trial did take into account the many variants, which it can be said that they are much more contagious with the new variants than the original variant. The FDA Medical Advisory Panel had their independent advisory board Friday, where they approved it with a vote of 22-0, clearing the way for emergency approval that was received Saturday afternoon, and shipments could start going out with the 3 to 4 million doses that they have ready to be shipped out.
Well, that's all we have for you as far as a COVID/vaccine update. We'll make sure to follow it up next week with more info that we will gather. But for now, we move into an update on the stimulus. The Senate parliamentarian has ruled that the $15 an hour wage boost cannot be in the stimulus bill. This is just in the Senate version of the bill, though. The House voted on their version of the bill, which does include the $15 an hour minimum wage, on Saturday morning, and this came in at a vote of 219 to 212. In this vote, 2 Democrats did vote no. These 2 are Representative Kurt Schaefer from Oregon and Representative Jared Golden from Maine. All the Republicans voted no.
Now that it has passed out of the House, it's on its way to the Senate this week. What happens in the Senate, they take out the provision for the $15 minimum wage piece. Then the rest of the bill will move forward under budget reconciliation measures. Once and if it passes out of the Senate, it will go back to the House for another vote and possibly another vote aroma. So you can expect that this stimulus package, budget reconciliation, will be frontline and center in the Senate this week, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of updates throughout the week. So we will make sure we catch you all up Friday morning, of course.
On that note, we move into immigration issues because there's some things going on at the U.S. and Mexico border. So this is specifically taking place at the border of Mexico and Texas. There are about 1,000 tent homes set up. Under the last administration, some people have been waiting 2 years to get their hearing for asylum. Under the last administration, there was the Wait in Mexico protocol. And now we'll get into a little bit of how the current process works. So first, the people are tested for COVID-19. Then they are released to the United States and wait for their hearing.
Mexico has said that they don't have the resources to take care of people for them to be sent back, and they will not accept young children back into their country. As we speak now, roughly 25 people are getting asylum a day. The number is expected to grow through the next couple of weeks into much larger numbers throughout the day. And 3,000 people are crossing the border illegally a day.
So that's all there. Next, we move into an update on the Capitol investigation. More testimonies happened on Thursday. The acting chief said that even if they had received the bulletin from the FBI, they did not have the equipment necessary. They weren't prepared for an attack on, the scale that the riot happened at. We talked about it in Friday's episode. The equipment was on order, but it wasn't there yet. And they had been saying that the people that attacked the Capitol, they were ready for war. They had planned the whole thing out. And, so the acting chief said that even if they had been aware that this was happening and they had gotten it earlier, there's no way they would have been ready.
Moving into a different topic that is overseas. Believe it or not, Nick, this is our very first overseas news segment that we've talked about. We've pretty much stayed right in the United States until now, and we are talking about what happened in Syria. The Biden administration used their first military action since taking office. This attack did happen in Syria in retaliation to the killing of a Washington Post journalist. Secretary Lloyd Austin of Defense did say he does believe it did do the job and did send a message saying that this type of behavior of killing of an American journalist would not be tolerated in the United States.
So this attack happened right on the border of Syria, but it was checked ahead of time to make sure that the U.S. wouldn't anger any of our other allies in making this attack. In the attack, 9 facilities were destroyed and 3 others were damaged. There is currently an investigation going on into, what was done and what happened, and there's likely to be new policy about it in the coming weeks.
Moving into celebrity news, Lady Gaga, I'm sure many people have heard about this. It was a big news story last week. Her dog walker was shot and 2 of her French bulldogs were stolen. It is believed that they were stolen to be sold, since the French bulldogs that she had could be sold for $8,000 plus. And she was offering a $500,000 reward, no questions asked, for their return. And then Friday evening, they were both returned to an LAPD police station by someone that was not tied to the investigation. They just dropped off the dogs and left. So, crazy story that ended in a crazy good way. Dogs weren't hurt, got her dogs back, and her dog walker is recovering.
So good end all around. Nice to hear.
But a really crazy story, though.
It is insane. It is insane. It's not one you hear every day. But going into kind of a new realm of news for us here, we are talking about the American Country Music Awards. Like I said, this isn't something we typically talk about or typically do, but it's news. It's news, and so we want to cover it too. So we have the list of nominees here, and we will read these off.
For Group of the Year, Lady A, Little Big Town, Old Dominion, Cadillac 3, and The High Women.
For Duo of the Year, we have Brooks and Dunn, Dan and Shay, Florida Georgia Line, Maddie and Tay, and Brothers Osborne.
For Female Artist of the Year, there is Miranda Lambert, Ashley McBride, Maren Morris, Carly Pierce, and Kelsey Ballerini.
For Male Artist of the Year, we have Dierks Bentley, Luke Combs, Eric Church, Thomas Rhett, and Chris Stapleton.
For Single of the Year, it is awarded to the artist, producer, and record label. There is Bluebird, Miranda Lambert, I Hope, Gabby Barrett, I Hope You Are Happy Now, Carly Pierce, and Leah Bryce. More Hearts Than Mine, Ingrid Andress. The Bones, Maren Morris. Just little fun fact. For Single of the Year, this is the first time ever that it's been an all-female category, minus Lee Bryce being thrown in there with Carly Pierce. So there's your fun fact of the day.
For Entertainer of the Year, we have Luke Bryan, Eric Church, Luke Combs, Thomas Rhett, and Chris Stapleton.
The ACM Awards are April 18th. So if you're a country singer, lover, person, make sure you listen April 18th. And now it's time for some rapid news.
I will start us off. Black Americans are able to save $300 less than white Americans.
40% of military families are struggling to put food on their table.
And finally, a former Olympic coach committed suicide after he was charged with sexual harassment and human trafficking.
Well, it's that time of a Monday morning, my favorite time. Nick, tell me some good news.
All right. So I kind of have 2 little stories for you this time.
You're spoiling us?
Of course.
Oh, thank you. Are you making up for the time you weren't here?
Exactly. But with the storms that happened in Texas, obviously it brought a lot of hard times for everyone. And a lot of people decided to reach out a helping hand in a pretty damn big way. gotta say. So our first one comes from a restaurant owner right in Texas who gave out 500 plus free meals to people who didn't have any electricity or any way to, heat food. So even after even after people started getting electricity back, the offer still remained out there from the restaurant owner that if anyone did need a hot meal, they could come down for free spaghetti and lasagna. And it was very interesting reading this owner's story because he was he was an immigrant from the country of Kosovo, who when he came here with practically nothing, and people helped him get on his feet. People helped him, manage to find his way in this country. So for him, this was kind of a way of giving back and paying it forward by giving these people free meals. And then our other one is these two guys from New Jersey who are plumbers who drove 22 hours from their home in New Jersey to Texas to help with burst pipes and any other plumbing issues that people were having in their houses. It was this one guy and his brother-in-law, they just packed up as much plumbing supplies as they could into the trunk of one of their cars and made the drive. Their family came with them, and they worked right from morning into the night. They had almost 20 jobs one day, something like 15 to 20 jobs in one day, and they were doing that for multiple days, just trying to do anything they could to give back.
First things first, who can refuse lasagna?
Exactly.
Second, I did hear about that second story of yours, and that's a crazy story because, I'm not saying I'm a plumber, but I've dealt with some plumbing issues in my life. And plumbing issues are generally not fun. So then when you have 15 to 20 of those in the same day, that's A, exhausting.
Yeah.
B, mentally frying. And then C, just to do it out of the goodness of your heart. That takes a whole nother level of a person.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It basically said, when I read the article, it basically said they just decided to pack up the car and go. They saw how much damage was done, and they figured that they could lend a hand. So they went and lended a hand.
Mm-hmm. More than one hand.
More than one. 4, actually.
One hand is an understatement. Especially doing, 15 to 20 a day. That is just crazy.
It's insane. It really is. I saw that number. I'm like, whoa, how?
2 to 3 would be like, whoa. But 15 to 20 is like, oh, okay. How are you able to wake up the next morning?
Yeah, right.
Plumbing is not easy work.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, it's just, it's so amazing to me to see these people both, in that area who are trying to do everything they can to help, as well as people across the country. Just people
literally across the country, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. People that have, as far as we're aware, no connection to Texas, no connection to what's going on down there, who just decided, hey, let's go help out.
Crazy. Good job finding these good news stories with an S. You're finding excellent, great news stories every single week. So bravo to you.
Thank you, sir.
And that is the end of this Monday morning episode. We'll be back here Wednesday morning for another dumb law, and then Tuesday and Thursday news articles for all the latest news that we do not get a chance to talk about here on the podcast. And then Friday morning news, catching you up, getting you ready for your weekend. But make sure you follow us on all social medias, especially the Blind Boys Politics account for the latest 24/7 breaking news. So you're always in the know, and follow us on our personal accounts to see what's going on in the world and to always say hi. All right. Have a good start to your week and see you later, guys.
Bye, guys.